think about it, mankind has really made great strides in its current form. Flying is one of them. Old-style airplanes were not enough, and some impressive and frightening models were built in the last century, pushing the limits. From cargo planes to bombers, and even crazy-looking double-decker passenger planes. After seeing the planes you will see in a moment, you will wonder how much bigger the designs can get. HELLOO's H-4 Hercules, the HELLOO's H-4 Hercules aircraft model, is also known by the nickname Latin Goose. Named after its designer, the famous pilot of the time, Howard Huggins, this giant aircraft was built during World War II. What is really incredible is that the aircraft was built almost entirely from wood. This monster, which is airborne by 8 engines, has a cargo carrying capacity of approximately 75 tons. Although this giant has never been involved in combat operations, it deserves to be on our list because it can fly and has the widest wingspan ever at 97 meters. Convair B-36 Peacemaker. During the Cold War, the only goal of the parties was to produce bigger, faster, and longer-range aircraft. It was a bit strange to produce an aircraft like the B-36 when all countries were using jet engines. When it entered service in 1949, this bomber was almost considered obsolete. However, it was the only bomber the Americans had with the range to hit the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics with nuclear bombs. So they continued the project. The B-36 was huge in many ways. However, with its 70-meter wingspan, it entered mass production and has the title of the largest aircraft with a piston engine. It was so big that its crew of 13 had 6 pistol engines and 4 jet engines. Antonov An-225. In a world dominated by jet engines, the An-225 showed that a propeller-driven aircraft could also make a mark. As you can see, the antenna An-225 was equipped only with propeller aircraft technology. This stone is the largest aircraft ever to have turboprop power. The 68 of these cargo planes that were produced are still in service with Russia and Ukraine. So how big are these planes? The An-225 has a wingspan of 65 meters and can carry 4 armored vehicles or 290 passengers in its cargo compartment. Also impressive are its dual counter-rotating propellers that provide the power it needs to carry all that cargo. Boeing B-52. What makes this Cold War bomber incredible is that the crew that currently flies and serves the aircraft was not even alive when the last B-52 left the factory in 1962. It may not be the heaviest bomber in the American arsenal. However, with a length of 48 meters and a wingspan of 56 meters, it is the largest bomber in terms of size still in service. Its 8 jet engines make the giant plane even more imposing. The American military plans to use the B-52s until 2040. This means that the B-52s will have an average lifespan longer than the pilots who fly them. Lockheed C-5 Galaxy. If you have ever been to an air show and had the chance to see one of these model aircraft up close, you know how big they are. The Lucky C-5 Galaxy is a transport aircraft used by the United States Army. It has a wingspan of 67 meters and 4D engines. However, the sheer size of the aircraft prevents it. When the cargo doors are opened, it is revealed. The length of the interior of the cave-like aircraft is 30 centimeters longer than the distance covered in the air by the Wright brothers with the first aircraft. Thanks to this, it can carry 6 Apache attack helicopters or 5 Brent fighter vehicles in the cargo bay at once. Anthony N-124. Whatever you do, I can do it better. This was a Russian response to the C-5 Galaxy aircraft produced by the United States. And in return for what they gave the Americans, it was in the form of an antenna N-124. The N-124, which was introduced 16 years after the C-5 was produced, was the heaviest cargo aircraft in the world for the next 30 years. We will talk about the aircraft that took this title from the N-124 in a moment. The N-124 has a wingspan of 73 meters and an average cargo capacity of 150 tons. It can even carry 350 people in its giant cargo compartment if needed. Ironically, during the Iraq and Afghanistan operations, NATO countries requested to rent these giant aircraft when they needed aircraft with a heavier carrying capacity. Tuber Tu-160, it is not only the United States that builds large bombers. In the 1980s, the Soviet Union introduced the tubular Tu-160 bomber to the public. This jet-powered bomber, which it snatched up with blackjack, has a wingspan of 57 meters and a takeoff weight of 300 tons. This feature makes the Tu-160 the heaviest fighter aircraft in the world. In addition, the aircraft has a capacity to carry 40 tons of bombs and guided missiles. However, there are rumors that more will need to be produced soon. Boeing 747-8. The era of jumbo jets began with the introduction of the first Boeing 747 in the 1970s. The partially double-deck 747 became the new face of transatlantic passenger transportation with its capacity to carry several hundred passengers at a time. Almost 50 years have passed since the first 747, and still, current versions of this aircraft continue to be produced and break new records. The newest version of these aircraft is the Boeing 747-8, and this model also holds the title of being the longest aircraft in the world. With a length of 76 meters, the giant bomber is 27 meters longer than the B-52. Another model produced for cargo transportation can carry more cargo than an An-124, which gives the 747 the title of the heaviest commercial cargo aircraft in the world. Airbus A380. There are some planes that you wouldn't believe could take off from the ground when you look at them from the outside. For example, the Airbus A380. This airline transport vehicle has brought the term jumbo jet to a new level. With its 79-meter wingspan and double deck, the A380 looks just like a 1747 that had a little too much food. The plane, which can easily carry more than 500 passengers, weighed over 310 when empty. This is quite big, believe me. People who are amazed by the size of the plane at the third and fourth floor passenger decks in the exaggerated photos they take in Photoshop. They turn the A380's bulk into a cosmopolitan element. Sometimes one wonders if we will ever see these four-deck planes that we laugh at in pictures today in the sky. Antonov An-225. When Russia started the Space Mickey program, it needed an aircraft to carry its spacecraft. The result? Take an An-124, increase its size, add a new tail, and two new engines. Here is the An-225, and this plane is really big. It is a monster with a length of 83 meters and a wingspan of 88 meters. It is currently the largest plane in the world. If I were to give an example of how much this plane can carry, in an operation in 2001, the An-225 transported 4 fully equipped battle tanks with a total weight of 280 tons. Although only one An-225 is currently known to be in service, rumors and intelligence indicate that a new An-225 is in production and can reach a speed of Mach 2. There are currently 16 Tu-160 bombers in active use.